First, I'm gonna show you guys some good reps and then we'll talk about it like we always do. So first, what's with the band, what's with the dumbbells? The dumbbells are allowing us to get a little bit deeper than if our hands were just on the floor. That's why it's called a deficit push-up. And we're gonna get a little bit more lengthening in our pecs, in our front delts, and in our triceps by getting that little bit of extra depth by elevating our hands on the dumbbells. Now, you could elevate your hands on dumbbells, you could elevate your hands on a pair of bumper plates and then have your chest kind of fall in the middle, or anything else that you have available at home. It will work just fine. The band is taking off some of that tension as we get into that fully lengthened position to encourage you to actually explore that full range of motion and allow people who might not be able to do full range of motion push-ups without the band to actually be able to do them, which I think is really, really great. Actually, I think a lot of people will really enjoy this movement. Now, when it comes to setting up the band height and choosing which band to use, both of those are going to affect how much band assistance that you get. Now, if you're somebody who does not need any band assistance and you can do deficit push-ups without the band, that's great, go ahead and do that. But for most people, the band is gonna be really, really helpful. And so how high should the band be and what band should you use and where should it go on your body? Now remember, the higher this band goes, the more it's gonna help. The heavier this band is, the more it's gonna help. So when it comes to setting up the band height, what I recommend for most people is setting up the band height somewhere around the top of your quad here as a good starting place. And I do recommend people start with this red thinner band, but the truth is you might have to scale to a lighter band, or you might need to scale to a heavier band, or you might need to elevate these or bring them down. And so what I recommend is starting with a thin red band, if you have it, about the top of your quad here. And then when you get down onto your knees and you want to get into the movement, putting this band directly below the chest and then getting into position. Now, if you start doing reps and you find that it is too difficult, again, you have two options to help yourself make it easier. You can get rid of the red band and you can get yourself a heavier band, which I believe the next one up is a thicker orange band, or you can actually just make this a little bit higher. So if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of band options, you can bring this band higher and higher and higher, and it will make the band that you are using help more and more and more. If you have a lot of band options, then you have the ability to choose between those two things to help make the band give you a little bit more assistance. And again, from there, you'll take the band, set it just below the chest, and if you're using dumbbells, I recommend using a more neutral grip instead of having the dumbbells facing like this. Turning the dumbbells so that they face more neutral, and then setting yourself up in your normal push-up position and descending as low as you can go until the chest touches the floor. Pressing all the way up and going all the way down to the floor. And what you'll find, hopefully, if you're set up correctly, is as you actually descend into that fully stretched bottom position, that the band is gonna give you a little bit of assistance and actually encourage you to go there and experience what that feels like. And as you press up out of the bottom and the triceps start to work a little bit more, that it will actually get harder and heavier as you get closer to lockout, which is exactly what we're looking for with this movement. Now, if you don't have a squat rack or somewhere else where you can set this up, I'm gonna show you a different banded option that can work really well. So if you don't have a squat rack or somewhere to set that up, or you just don't freaking feel like it, one way we can get a very similar stimulus is by using a band resistance, but with our hands up elevated on the bench. And so what I like to do is flip the band over my back, and then from the outside in, put my thumbs through the band and pull this up just into my armpit, into that upper back. Now I have the band like this, my thumbs are in from the outside in, and I'm gonna set up with my normal elevated push-up here with that band right along my back, and I'm gonna descend all the way down, full range of motion, all the way down and all the way up. That band might move down a little bit on your back. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it'll be just fine, and it'll accomplish a similar resistance profile where it's a little bit harder on lockout. Now, you don't get the benefit of the actual deficit going a little bit deeper, but it's really not the end of the world. And if setting this up is either not practical or logistically feasible, or you just don't feel like it, this is a really great way to get a very similar stimulus without needing to set that whole thing up. And just before you go, if this is also something that you don't feel like setting up for whatever reason, and you just want to do regular push-ups, I promise you that's totally fine. You can go and do that. You're not missing out on a whole lot. If you really want to do regular push-ups, I promise you that's just fine.